After meeting at Stuart High School for some time, the church began meeting at the Christian Endeavor building. After remodeling, this building became the Women's Club, and the church continued to meet there. In the fall of 1933, the church bought its first property and remodeled the cottage on the lot at 312 Osceola, which became the Presbyterian Chapel. In 1939, a building fund was established to build a larger facility because the church had outgrown the chapel. The building plan was delayed by World War II. Because the Presbyterian Chapel was so small, the church began meeting in the Lyric Theater and later at the rebuilt Women's Club, which had been badly damaged in the hurricane of 1933. In 1948, the church built a new church building at 445 Osceola for $34,000. At that time, the church had 104 members, including Bill Otterson. By 1954, the church had grown to 205 members, and 2 additional rooms were added to the educational wing. By 1959, the church with 300 members had outgrown that building and was looking for a new site. The church began raising money. In 1959, the church bought 5.5 acres on Pine Lake Drive in North River Shores for $21,000. The cornerstone of the new church building was laid in early 1960, and the church was dedicated in May. The sanctuary cost $115,000. By 1972, the church had 627 members and had outgrown the sanctuary, which is now Fellowship Hall. Session approved the building of a new sanctuary, and in 1974 the cornerstone was laid. The new sanctuary was dedicated in November of 1975. While the new sanctuary was under construction, some improvements were also made to the original facilities. Additions were made to the educational wings to create the library and more classroom space. The old sanctuary was converted to Fellowship Hall. A preschool for children ages 2 to 5 years old was established with 2 teachers and 15 students. The church continued to grow and, by 1980, had 839 members.
Happy birthday, church. My name is David Graycheck. I'm the senior pastor of First Presbyterian Church here in Stuart, Florida. Our church has gone through some dramatic changes. Being born 90 years ago, our world has seen some dramatic changes since we opened. In 1926, the first liquid-fueled rocket was tested. 1927, electronic TV was demonstrated for the first time. And in 1928, Fleming discovered penicillin. Schick patents its first electric shaver. Zenith Radio starts the year as the lowest priced stock in the New York Stock Exchange, but ends the year as the highest priced stock because of its demand for the new radio. Paul Galvin, later the president of Motorola, invented the car radio. We could go on with changes that have happened. The first copier, the Colt revolver. Aerosol spray cans are developed in 41. 43, synthetic rubber is invented for the first time, along with the important inventions of the slinky and silly putty. 1946 is one of my favorite inventions. It's the microwave was invented for the first time by Percy Spencer. Diners Club introduced the first credit card in 1950, and Ray Kroc began franchising McDonald's franchises in 1954. The first use of the computer hard disk was in 1956. 1959 was an important year to the generations of girls as Barbie doll is introduced for the first time. The halogen lamp is invented in the 60s along with audio cassettes, pop-top cans, AstroTurf, Kevlar, soft contact lenses that you actually put on your eyes. 1969, the ATM machine was invented. 1970 invents the floppy disk, and then 71, Intel created the first microprocessor, and things began to develop rapidly. 1974, the year Post-it notes were invented, along with liposuction. IBM introduces the PC in 1981, and MS-DOS appears for the very first time. Apple Macintosh popularizes the graphical interface. CD-ROMs are invented. Microsoft brings out Windows, and on the explosion grows and the world changes. So how is life different? What was it like 90 years ago? Well, it was much more of a rural lifestyle, one where dozens of diseases that have now disappeared were common. Much has changed about the population of the United States and most of the industrial world. In the early 1900s, the median age was 22, but today, with longer spans, it has risen to almost 36, according to the Census Bureau. Families averaged 3.5 children in 1900, down from 7 in the 1800s, and have now continued to shrink, averaging only 2.1 children per family now. At the beginning of the 20th century, most people lived on farms, but cities have continued to grow in size and percentage, now accounting for 8 out of every 10 people. What does this mean? Why do we go through all these changes? This is what the church has lived through and worked through for the past 90 years. This church has seen dramatic change. Our world has experienced dramatic change. One thing remains, though. It remains constant, and that is the church. The gospel does not change. Our mission to share the gospel and love others to love Jesus Christ has not changed. I believe God is calling us into the next 90 years of this church's life in the same way that it began, and it's even the same though the world has seen dramatic changes, as we pointed out. My friends, as your pastor, I look forward to walking with you into this next chapter of First Presbyterian Church's life, carrying that same mission our founders brought so many years ago. Jesus is love. The gospel is the answer. And let's all join together in loving others to love Jesus Christ as we begin this new journey together. As I said at the beginning, happy birthday, church. God was, God is. It's exciting where God is taking us.